the ceremony. Bring your family, friends, red and blue flags for the games at 7 p.m.
I'm April Cummings with a recap of the day's top local news. Cayman's premier says in order to avoid mass departures from important government boards, it was important to get sufficient feedback before implementing the standards in public life law. He announced in the Legislative Assembly last week it will come into force on March 1st. Describing it as a bipartisan effort, Newlands MLA Alva Saku says his motion calling for a committee and public education around climate change and climate change policy would be a failure if all legislators didn't support it. The motion passed. This weekend, the celebration of all things coconut gets underway. Tourism Attraction Board Marketing Coordinator Mona Mead says the 5th annual Cocoa Fest will bring together cooks, craftsmen, producers, and farmers through a shared love for the coconut. $1 of each entry fee benefits Meals on Wheels Cayman. That's a recap of the day's top local stories. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity.
Stuck on you.
Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
For the health of it, Radio Cayman's premier health show is brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital,
Cayman Fertility Center,
and EatingClean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Hello and welcome to For the Health of It. In the studio with me this evening is Dr. Wilmot Schillingforth from the HSA, and we're going to be talking about the coronavirus after the messages from these sponsors.
Once upon a time, we ate from the land and sea. We may not have had much growing up, but we had healthy foods. It's time to wake back up to natural eating. EatingClean.com is the island's premier 100% born Caymanian-owned cooked-to-order meal prepping service. Fresh, locally and responsibly sourced ingredients. No processed soy and GMO foods. From breakfast to lunches, meat to vegan, juices and smoothies. Experience tasty meals for as low as $9. Visit EatingClean.com to view their menu or place your order. Deliveries are free, including reusable plates and bags. Monthly and corporate specials are available. Visit eatingclean.com. That's clean with a K. EatingKlean.com or call 328-8655. Wake back up to quality foods with eatingclean.com. Nominations are open for the Cayman First Classroom of the Month. Cayman First recognizes a classroom each month for efforts in educational development, creativity, or community service. Parents and teachers, this is your opportunity to recognize the dedicated efforts of your students' class. Simply email your nominations to classroom@caymanlife.tv. The winning class will receive a certificate to office supply, individual student prizes, and have their class featured on Cayman Life TV, on Logic Channel 33, and online at caymanlife.tv. Classroom of the Month is brought to you by Cayman First, supported by Office Supply and Radio Cayman. Email your nominations to classroom@caymanlife.tv today.
Refilling and transferring your prescriptions have never been this easy. Simply go to healthcarepharmacy.ky and follow the easy directions from your desktop, mobile device, or tablet. All you need to do is pop into Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor to collect your prescription. They're open 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 till 6 on Sundays and public holidays. No waiting in line, no wasting your lunch hour, no stress. Just easy online prescription refills and transfers from the pharmacy that has been caring about your health for 25 years. Call 947-8900 to speak to a pharmacist or go to healthcarepharmacy.ky and make life easy.
We believe that every life matters and we are all connected. One community, one people.
No matter where you live, Holy Cross Hospital of South Florida is breaking down the borders that should not exist in advanced healthcare.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we have opened our doors to the world, bringing you exceptional healthcare.
The multicultural staff features doctors and nurses providing top quality, compassionate healthcare while making patients feel at home.
Our Holy Cross International Services team provides guidance to patients and their families throughout their travel, accommodations, and recovery.
Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Your trusted health partner for life.
Learn more about Holy Cross Hospital. Email international@holy-cross.com or call 954-351-5906.
Shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Hi, and welcome to For the Health of It. In the studio with me is the awesome Dr. Wilmoth Shillingforth. But welcome to For the Health of It.
Got it right. Okay. Hi, good night. Tara, nice to be here again.
Yeah, you know, I really mess up people's names every single time I have a show, but...
I think Wilmoth Shillingford is a bit of a mouthful.
It is, but it's not as bad as you know, those names with all consonants. But anyway, so I'm so pleased you're here, and we're going to be talking about this virus that has created a lot of angst.
Worldwide as well.
Yeah. And who last week declared it a global emergency?
Yes, they did.
So that kind of dialed it up a notch.
Yeah, I think it's been frightening from the beginning when people started to hear how quickly it was spreading through China. I think the population started to be concerned from that time. I think the WHO were mostly considering it to be under observation until recently, until they have decided that it should be declared a global health emergency as of the last few days.
So what makes this worse than the flu?
So I don't know if we should say it is necessarily worse than the flu without explanation. The flu is a lot more common than this virus. You're much more likely to get the flu. So in that way, the flu is probably the thing that you should be more concerned if you live in Cayman. But it is a bit more dangerous than the flu in terms of the possibility that you could become seriously ill from it. But it hasn't arrived in Cayman as yet, and hopefully it will not arrive in Cayman. So really, one of the messages that we would like to say to people is that it's a virus infection, and we should be concerned about it, but we should also be concerned about all the other virus infections that are going around as well. Every year we have a flu campaign, and we like to let people know that they should get their flu shots. So I just want to make sure I get that in there early. If you're worried about that virus, you should also be worried about the one that is very common and already in Cayman, which is the flu virus.
Yeah. I mean, I get my flu shot every single year.
Me too.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people who are against it, but it works for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The thing is, though, the reason why many people don't get the flu virus, it's a common misconception. When we say a person has the flu in public talk, if you're speaking to people on the street, they will say, "I have the flu." Many times we don't actually have the flu; we have a cold. So let me just explain the difference, if you don't mind, just to be clear what the difference is between. So when you learn about, you hear people have germs or they have an infection. There are lots of different things that can cause germs and infections. The commonest ones would be viruses. There are also bacteria. Bacteria are the ones that you can use antibiotics for. So it's two separate types of infection, two separate types of germ. And there are lots of different types of viruses that cause all sorts of different types of illness. The flu and the cold and this new virus belong to what we would call the respiratory viruses, meaning infections that affect your respiratory system, and that is your nose, your throat, your lungs. Most of the time when you have a respiratory virus, it is caused by one set of viruses, usually what we call the rhinovirus. So most people who have cold symptoms would most likely have a cold. we commonly say that you have the flu when you see a person, the sniffling nose and the fever and the aches and pains and the sore throat. But the flu, medically speaking, is a completely different disease.
Mm-hmm.
The flu is a disease that is caused specifically by a virus called influenza. And the reason why we have a flu shot for influenza viruses is because if you catch that particular virus, you can get a mild disease. You can just get a little stuffy nose, a little sore throat if you had the flu. But the flu virus itself, as opposed to the cold virus, the flu can give you a serious infection. Mm-hmm. Because the cold virus tends to stay in the upper respiratory. Remember, I said they are respiratory viruses. The cold tends to stay in the upper respiratory tract, so the nose, the throat. Mm-hmm. But the flu virus and this new virus can infect the lower respiratory tract, meaning the lungs and the tubes in the lungs. So if a person has the flu or this new virus, they can not only have the sniffles and the cold and the aches and pains, but they can also develop severe bad chest infections from those viruses. So that's the similarity between the flu and that virus and the difference from the cold. So the cold tends to be, just to repeat, cold tends to be upper nose and sniffles, but the flu and this new virus can give you lung infections as well.
Which is like pneumonia.
What we call a viral pneumonia, that's what you can get.
And the thing about viruses, it's while the medical community treats it with symptoms, it's not curative, so to speak.
Right. So viruses, generally speaking, in medicine, we don't have antibiotics for viruses. Mm-hmm. All right? All of the viruses that we have, essentially, there's no one thing that we call an antibiotic for a virus. So there's no antibiotic for the flu. There's no antibiotic for the cold. Any of the viruses that we generally speak of, there's no real antibiotic for it. Treatment for virus infections tend to be what we call symptomatic. If you have a symptom, meaning, for example, if you have a cold and you have a stuffy nose, we'll give you something for the stuffy nose. If you have a cough, we'll give you something for the cough, and just something just to ease the cough. If you have fever, we'll give you something for the fever. So treatment of the virus infections tend to be what we call supportive. We'll give you something just for the symptoms that you have. But there's no antibiotic that will, for example, you will give it and the person will be better in 2 days and it will be gone completely. That's bacteria infections. So most times people come to the doctor with upper respiratory infection, sniffles, the cold. Very often people want to get antibiotics to knock it away, as they say, or knock it out quickly. That doesn't exist. We haven't invented antibiotics for virus infections yet. So same thing with this new virus. They haven't discovered or developed any specific treatment for it as yet.
But I was reading that the treatment for it is actually quite aggressive, like anti-AIDS viral.
Okay, yes. So there was a report on the radio recently that, on the news, that I'm not sure if it's one or different health centers have tried using certain antiviral treatments to see if they can help with this virus. And there was a report that at least one person seemed to respond to those antiviral treatments. But it's not the same as an antibiotic.
Right.
And the World Health Organization hasn't said officially that is an accepted treatment. Even if that person may have improved, the World Health Organization hasn't said that it is likely that if you give it to somebody else, that person will improve. So officially right now, there is no definite treatment for that virus.
Is this part of the anxiety that people are feeling, that there is the unknown of it?
I think with infections like this, again, because it plays out so slowly, we're sitting here watching it happening in China and it's spreading. I think that's part of the anxiety, that it is building and we don't have. But you're right. The fact that there is no obvious cure. If somebody could announce today that there is a cure for it, I'm pretty sure the anxiety level worldwide would decrease. But that is definitely one of the things that would affect the population's anxiety. fact that there is not a one thing that we can do that will cure it instantly. However, I just want to say, just to repeat though, most of these respiratory viruses, the flu and this new virus, the majority of people, Ms. Tara, will have a simple respiratory infection. So most people who get even this new virus will have just a upper respiratory tract. You'll have a cold, you'll have a flu symptoms, in other words. You'll have the stuffy nose, you'll have the fever, you'll have the aches and pains. But the majority of people who get this infection will recover perfectly fine. There's a certain proportion of people who will also get the lung symptoms as well. They will start to get short of breath, and they will develop the cough. Some people will develop full pneumonia. But even most of those people will probably recover as well. So worldwide, they have found, we can get statistics from the World Health Organization, that so far only 2% of people, so if you have 100 people who got this infection, 2% of people will not survive from that infection. 98% of people, in other words, who catch this virus out of 100 will go home perfectly fine with it. Right? The difference between it and the flu, the flu, about 0.1% of people will get will die from a flu virus. So it is definitely much more deadly than the flu, but in terms of proportion, if 100 people had this had a flu virus, 99% of them would go home perfectly fine. Less than one person would die of it. This virus is a bit more deadly, but still 98 out of 100 people would survive perfectly fine after they've had this infection.
So how can we, let me, if there's any questions out there, please give us a call at Radio Cayman. It's on my Facebook page, the number. I don't have it right off the top of my head. It's
neither do I.
It's 1-800 something. JJ. Anyway, I'll try to get you that number, and I'm talking to Dr. Wilmot Shillingforth from HSA, and we're talking about the new coronavirus. The number is 1-800-534-8255 if you want to give us a call at the studio. It's toll free. So my next question now is, how can we protect ourselves?
When you have an infection like that, which is becoming worldwide, there would be a number of systems being put in place, both in Cayman and internationally, to make sure that I am not part of the public health department, so I can't give you any details as to what is being done outside of the hospital, but I'm 100% certain that the public health department, which tends to the department which is responsible for population infections, has started and has put in place plans for monitoring any possible infections in Cayman. Further details, if you have any questions about any specific plans that the public health department is doing for Cayman, you can call the public health department and get information about that as well.
Sorry, I was just like the common sense stuff of washing your hands.
Sure, of course. So that's the best thing to do to not get this infection, of course, is don't get exposed to it. That's the best way. There is no cure for it. The best way to don't get exposed to it. So we would recommend that if a person is known to have been in China, or if you know that you visited China and you feel that you may have an infection, then we recommend that you stay home. The incubation period, that's the time from when you first exposed to it to when you start seeing symptoms, what we call the incubation period. It's about between 2 and 14 days. So it can be 2 weeks before you see any symptoms after you catch it. So if you've been in China,
2 weeks,
yes,
wow.
up to 2 weeks, up to 14 days before you see symptoms. So if you've been in China yourself, then we recommend that you stay home and observe your symptoms, if possible, for up to 14 days. If you don't have any symptoms in the Cayman Island, and you know that, or you suspect that you've been exposed to somebody who may have had the virus, or somebody who may have been in China in the last 14 days. And we like to be specific about the 14 days, because if you met somebody who was exposed more than 3 weeks ago, then that person would have developed symptoms by now. So yep.
We have a caller.
Oh, you have a caller.
Hello, caller. Do you want to just please go ahead and ask your question?
Yes, Tara, and your guest. This is Kenneth Christian, the herbal doctor. There's so many diseases in this island, and now this coronavirus come out. The only thing that will take care of that is just like AIDS, HIV, herpes, syphilis, lupus, and all these kind of things. Natural herbs cures those things, and it has been proven. And I will say, I will put my life on the line. This coronavirus, natural herbs will cure the same identical thing. When you go natural, you live longer and healthier.
So, sir, do you have a question, or are you just imparting advice?
Well, I just want to give advice on it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to interrupt you, and thank you so much. I really appreciate your calling, but my show is really super limited, and so I think you've let the Cayman public know to who you are, and they can have herbs, which I totally believe in. But I'm going to go back to the show, so unless you have a question.
Well, you see, Cayman Island, the Cayman people have no rights in your own island. That's all I have to say, Tara. So you all have a good night.
Thank you. Bye. So, go ahead, Dr. Wilmot.
Right. I didn't hear much of that. Right.
No, that's okay.
So, yeah. So we were talking about prevention.
Yes.
Which is the main way of preventing it, of not succumbing to this flu. So we were talking about exposure. If you have been exposed to somebody who has been in China, or somebody who's been working in China, or somebody who may have been exposed to somebody who's known to have that within the last 14 days, then we recommend that you inform the public health department, and they will give you further advice.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, for all the virus infections, respiratory virus infections, to prevent yourself from getting the infection, the advice is the same, which is keep away from people who may be exposed. We generally recommend that if you are in close contact, somebody who is about 3 feet from you, or you have been in the room with the person for more than 20 minutes, then that increases your chance of getting infection. So not getting an infection, the best thing to do is not expose yourself to it. But it's more important people who feel they may have the infection, what to do in that case. If you have symptoms of the cold or the flu, or even if you feel that you may have this virus, we recommend that you should take steps to make sure that you don't put other people at risk. And the people who are most at risk would be, of course, people who are older, people who are younger, children, people who have medical problems like diabetes or asthma. Those are the people who are more at risk. If you have a virus infection, we recommend that you wash your hands frequently. Make sure you wash your hands fully. Usually recommend for at least 20 seconds of rubbing your hands, or you use hand sanitizer frequently. If you cough, we recommend that you cough into a tissue or a towel and throw it away. Or some people recommend that you cough into the corner of your elbow, but don't cough without covering your sneeze. When you sneeze or you cough, the droplets, there's fluid that leaves, you don't see it, but there are little droplets of fluid that come from your lungs with the virus in it, and those can spread for a long distance. So that's why we recommend, if you are coughing or sneezing with the flu, you cover your face or your mouth with a tissue and throw that away, because the tissue itself would be infectious. And then you sanitize your hands as well. So
can people eat better? I mean, can they get their bodies ready for, how can we actually take some personal responsibility too?
Right.
I know sugar. I have a problem with sugar, I gotta tell you.
We all have a problem with sugar.
I mean, not that I eat it. I just have a problem with the amount that people consume.
All right. Yeah.
And
Yeah, so in terms of keeping yourself, we do know that people who, the healthier you are, the less likely you are to catch a viral infection.
Mm-hmm.
Your immune system is stronger. Your resistance to disease is stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So we recommend, I thank you for bringing it up, eat well,
Mm-hmm.
balanced diet. The amount of sugar you eat, you should try and decrease that. Regular exercise, keep yourself healthy. The recommendation for exercise is 30 minutes 5 times a day, up to 150 minutes per week, in other words.
5 times a week.
5 times a week, not 5 times a day.
Go ahead, Dr. Schillingforth.
Yeah, but you need to exercise and keep yourself strong. The stronger your body is, the less likely you are to be able to contract one of these diseases. And of course, apart from eat well, drink lots of fluids, but also some evidence suggests that positive state of mind can affect your ability to, your sensitivity to infections as well. Be positive, and look out for your health.
Sorry, there's a lot going on.
I know, I can tell. So there are the simple things that you can do. Look after yourself, think positive, eat well, exercise, and sleep. Yes, absolutely, sleeping as well. But when you do, the most important thing is to prevent transmission of the virus and preventing yourself from being in contact with somebody who may have an infection.
And I don't want to dismiss the caller's advice. I mean, I think, we can take supplements too, and a good plant-based diet is, that increases our vitamins and our minerals, and because he was suggested we take herbs, but.
Like I don't know if the caller knows this, but I couldn't hear exactly what he was saying at all. So I don't want to seem rude that I ignore his comment, but I didn't hear it at all.
No, and we're on a time crunch and going through a lot of material, so I wanted to give you most of the time. Since he didn't have a question, could you tell us what how? Put this into perspective, and I think you did a bit of that. So about 250,000, I was reading, to 500,000 people die of the flu, according to the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
This is globally. This
yes.
is globally. In the United States, I think it's about 36,000.
Up to 50.
Yeah, and that depends on the flu. The virus, because we have worse flu seasons.
Yes.
Sometimes we have a very mild, and sometimes we have a bad.
Yeah, it varies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking about the flu season tends to be around the Christmas time, and we tend to come out with the flu shot somewhere just about the fall season. So yes, every year there may be a different strain of flu. Just like. You might notice that this new virus is called a coronavirus. And just to mention something, on Facebook you'll see some people are saying that, they're calling this a new virus, but it's been around forever. Well, coronaviruses have been around forever. Mm-hmm. This is just a new type of coronavirus. Mm-hmm. We've had some really bad coronaviruses in the past. We've had the one called SARS and the one called MERS, which were much more serious than this one, much more deadly than this one. So there are different strains and types of viruses, just like there are different strains and types of flu. So yes, every year there'll be different. The type of flu that we'll get, the different strain of flu might be different, and they give you a different type of vaccine. So the vaccine sort of changes to probably, we try to estimate which strains of the flu would be more common this year, and the vaccine will be produced to treat that particular strain of the flu.
Will the vaccine, we have 1 minute left, does the flu vaccine help with this flu or no?
Yes, so good question. Many people will say, I got the vaccine and I still got the flu. Keep in mind that you probably got a cold.
Yeah.
The vaccine prevents a particular infection called influenza. And the vaccine definitely does help to prevent. Worldwide, we know this. The vaccine does help to prevent the flu. But it is not always 100% effective. So some years you might find that the vaccine is 70% effective, some years 80% effective. I think this year was just thought to be about 50% effective to prevent the flu.
So will this vaccine, can that help?
You mean the flu shot, if it will help with this particular virus? Unfortunately, the flu is a different family of virus. So it's not a coronavirus, it's an influenza. So a vaccine for the flu would not likely protect you from this particular virus. But you should still get your flu shot.
So if someone gets this in their household, do you think Cayman is ready for this?
I think so.
Okay.
Again, I'm not from the public health department, but I'm aware of the public health department becoming prepared. I've seen the communications between members of the public health department, and I believe that the department is getting ready and has gotten ready. We've had drills in the past and preparation for any severe illness like this. I've been part of that myself. Mm-hmm. So if there were to be a case in Cayman, I'm pretty sure that the Cayman Islands, at least the Health Services Authority, is ready to react.
One case, but multiples?
Again, at some point, it may be that this will arrive in Cayman. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what will happen after that, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not pretty sure, but there are strategies in place to decide what to be done. But I think we'll be ready.
Thank you for listening to For the Health of It with Dr. Wilmot Shillingforth from HSA.
Thank you.
We're moving you to the life you want.
Marianne Radmacher once said, "As we work to create light for others, we naturally light our own way."
Calling all CICSA members. The Cayman Islands Civil Service Association annual general meeting for the Sister Islands is Thursday, February 20th in Cayman Brac at the District Administration Building in Stake Bay in the conference room located on the second floor starting at 12:15 p.m. A light lunch will be provided.
Come out and vote for your 2 BRAC representatives who will serve on the 2020 Management Council. Hear the President give his annual report, ask your questions, share your ideas, and make suggestions. You can also email your questions in advance of the meeting to cicsa@gov.ky. There will also be a door prize raffle of a Cayman Airways voucher, and the first 35 persons to sign in at the meeting will get a free gift.
Members, please make every effort to attend this very important CICSA annual general meeting for the Sister Islands on the BRAC Thursday, February 20th at the District Administration Building in Stake Bay in the conference room located on the second floor starting at 12:15 p.m.
Refilling and transferring your prescriptions have never been this easy. Simply go to healthcarepharmacy.ky and follow the easy directions from your desktop, mobile device, or tablet. All you need to do is pop into Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor to collect your prescription. They're open 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 till 6 on Sundays and public holidays. No waiting in line, no wasting your lunch hour, no stress. Just easy online prescription refills and transfers from the pharmacy that has been caring about your health for 25 years. Call 947-8900 to speak to a pharmacist or go to healthcarepharmacy.ky and make life easy.
We believe that every life matters, and we are all connected. One community, one people.
No matter where you live, Holy Cross Hospital of South Florida is breaking down the borders that should not exist in advanced healthcare.
At Holy Cross Hospital, we have opened our doors to the world, bringing you exceptional healthcare.
The multicultural staff features doctors and nurses providing top quality, compassionate healthcare while making patients feel at home.
Our Holy Cross International Services team provides guidance to patients and their families throughout their travel, accommodations, and recovery.
Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding